Season 4 continues. We take a look back at 2020 for one of our favorite episodes where we do a budget bottled and bond blind, and Brett thinks every one of them is early times. This still holds relevant today, so tune in to hear all about it on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. But before we get started, do you like our podcast? Do you like bourbon gear? Check out our website at www.bourbonhunters.com to check out our bourbon shirts and buy a Bourbon Hunter Kinsey dram. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. So welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I am Dude Poole.
I am Brett Bryan.
And today we are going to do another blind. But today I thought we would focus on budget bottled and bonds.
Oh, okay.
So these are all in the $17 to, I'd say, $25 range. And when we do the reveal, we'll talk about MSRPs and stuff like that too. But so I'm pretty excited about this because the reason I wanted to do this is in this day and age, everyone's talking about like the high-end bourbons, and we've got our own bourbon lottery going on in Ohio right now with, I think, OFC and the Baccarat edition of Woodford, and then Eagle Very Rare.
Yeah, double Eagle Rare or somewhere.
Yeah, they're like $2,000 and above for each one of those. And, you know, of course, those are awesome hunting bottles and things like that. People want as much as they can to have those types of things and to find those unicorns. But, you know, the big thing about this is all these are sitting right in front of you. And they're all very good. Or at least we're about to find out if they're all very good. So I
had a similar discussion with my friend the other day because he was like, this is so dumb, you know, blah, 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 with those $2,000 bottles. And I kind of said the same thing, like, you know, it's like the whole people paying over Blanton's, you know, paying the couple $100s for it. There are good bourbons out there that are just, you know, in this price range that are $25.
Right. Well, but even Bland's is fine when you pay MSRP for it.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's when you go pay secondary $200, $300 for a single bottle of regular Blanton's that it doesn't make any sense to me. And that's just my opinion on the whole thing, but yeah, so that's what I thought. This would be kind of a good episode to just kind of reach out to, you know, those budget bottled and bonds. Plus, it's fun to say. And
I know that you love the early times bottled and bond.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm going to guess it's in here, and I'm hoping that I can pick it out because I really enjoy it as well. I do. It is. It's one of the ones that people, when they're new to drinking bourbon, I point them in the direction of it immediately.
To be honest, I have no problem with telling what they are because I know what they are. So it's not any. Yeah. It shouldn't be any secret for you. So you just don't know what order they're in, and I don't know what order that we're about to taste them in. So we have early times bottled and bond. We have old Grand Dad bottled and bond. We have Evan Williams bottled and bond, Old Tub, and Old Bardstown. So of these, I have had 3 of them. So there's 2 I've never had before.
I think that I've only had 2. I know I've had the early times, and it's a favorite of mine. I believe I've had the Old Bardstown as well.
Old Tub's new. That's a Jim Beam throwback that they just released this year. Evan Williams is one that's supposed to be pretty good. Old Granddad, everyone says, is really good for the price, but these are all, you know, under $25, from what I understand. I'll have to make sure, but I'm pretty sure they're all under $25. So, picked up a couple today just to complete the set, and then I realized one of the ones I didn't realize I had. Well, I realized, but I forgot I already had the Old Bardstown, so that was number 5.
Didn't you pick one of those up when we did our tour?
Yeah,
and I think we did a tasting of that.
We did in Louisville.
Yeah,
and it wasn't great or super complex, but I mean, it was less than $20. And I think for, you know, sometimes, and Fred Minnick will say this too, what you've had that day changes, you know, how things taste. So it'll be interesting to have these now on a separate day. So,
and I was going to say the same. I'm excited to revisit and see if, you know, because I don't believe it was my favorite last time by any means.
No, it wasn't either of our favorites, I don't think. So,
but you know, again, what I've eaten today and how my palate is and everything like that.
Right, I agree. So I think this will be kind of interesting. I'm going to run this like a little calculator type thing on my Excel just to give us a way to record this. So I'm just going to create a new one.
Okay.
But so let's go ahead and nose this first one.
I get sweet already, and I'm wondering if this is the early times one. Oh, man. I'm going to think every one of them is the early times, too.
That's the only bad thing about when you have a chance ahead of time to know what they are. So it's to me, it's kind of funny. I
had a feeling that one would be in it.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, it's cheap too. What's it, $22 or something like that?
I think, and it's like a full liter as well. It's not a $7.50.
Right. No, exactly. So I'm going to number these because we are doing letters for the other part. Right. So I'm going to number them.
I know the order, but I don't know what is in each vial or was in each vial. So I definitely get sweet on the nose. Maybe even some baking notes.
I definitely got sweet on the nose myself. I
feel like I can get sweet on the nose for almost anything too.
Yeah, you can. I agree.
But there is, I think it's like a baking note that I get. It's not quite floral, but there's something that's not sweet in there.
Yeah. All right, so I get a little bit of a floral. Is that what you said?
I feel like I don't know if I'm confusing baking notes or baking spice with floral.
And I'm not very good at my nose, so I mean that could be part of it as well. But I'm definitely getting some sweet, and I think I'm getting some vanilla.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna dive into this one.
A lot of sweet on the palate with that.
Yeah, I would say same thing for me. I've broken these down into nose, palate, and then finish.
Okay.
And then we'll just go through and rate them, each, and then total them up and stuff like that. So for me, the finish is actually not too bad. And maybe it's just because it's the first drink of the day. We'll see. And I'm going to leave some in there to go back to it.
Yeah. Now, it's funny that once it has tasted my palate and I revisit the nose, I get a ton of floral notes.
Yeah.
The sweet is gone in the nose.
I'm glad you said that because I'm getting floral still, and I want to make sure that...
Yeah. No, it's almost all floral notes now, and it's funny to me how much that changes just once you get a little bit on the palate.
No, I agree completely, and it's funny how many times you revisit a glass, too, a single pour, how it changes. Or it's almost like your palate opens up or something like that.
I always like to save a little bit too,
yeah,
to like revisit once we say what they are. And
I generally don't like to do that. I like to just go through it. So what do you, if you had to rate this, I'll do the next one. I'll start with the next one and you start with this one.
Are we doing on a scale of 5?
Sure. It doesn't really matter as long as we're consistent around all of them.
On a scale of 5, and I always hate, the first one is always so hard because, you know what I mean? It sets the baseline. Yeah. I'm going to call it a 3.
Okay.
So better than average.
3 on the nose?
3 on the nose.
Palate?
I'll give it a 3.5 on the palate.
Okay.
And then the finish will go 3.5 as well. So don't love the floral notes on the nose. And I mean, I like flowers. That's kind of weird, but it's just not what I want to smell when I'm smelling my bourbon.
Sure. As a baseline, I think I'm going to go exactly the same. The nose wasn't as good for me as the palate and the finish, so I'm going to do 3.5 on both of those as well. So I'm going to go 3.5, 3.5.
We don't have Tyler's crazy 3.684.
Carry the 7.
Yeah, diner.
That's funny. So I've decided I'm going to call Tyler from now on. He's going to have a new nickname, and it's Jelly of the Month Club.
Okay.
Because he's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
Speaking of, I love Christmas movies when it comes time for that.
Me too.
Like, I will binge a whole weekend, and I have just like a list of Christmas movies that I love to watch.
Yeah, Trina and I usually we'll do like a movie night. We usually do it for Halloween, and we do it for Christmas as well.
Yeah.
Where we'll just sit in, pick 2 or 3 movies and watch them and make some food and different things like that.
What you could do down here, and it wouldn't be a huge group of people, but you could do a pajama party where you have to wear pajamas, right?
Yep.
And then you just like play a movie or 2 movies or whatever you want. You set up a little food hutch or something like that.
Yeah.
And just, you could have 3 people sit back here comfortably. You could have 3 on the couch,
Yep.
2 on the couch, whatever, chair.
We have those little floor pillows too.
Yeah. I mean, you could.
And once the bourbon room's done, which is exciting news, we've talked about it a little bit on here, but this could be your food.
Yeah,
area.
absolutely.
So I've thought about that, and once we get the floor and ceiling fixed, it's go time.
Yeah,
I agree. So, what do you think? You had a chance to clear the palate? You need some crackers?
I'm good. I took a swig. I cleared the palate. I think I'm good to try this next one.
Let's move on to number 2.
I don't want to.
Just out of curiosity, do you see much difference in color on any of these? I think they all look about the same.
I think they do look the same. I'm making sure I'm not getting like light differences.
Right. Yeah. To me, they look very, very similar.
The one in the Kinsey might be a little darker, but I don't know if that's just the glass and where it's sitting.
And that's the one thing I will say. I tried to do Glencairns on all these. And if you notice, I did them in the same order.
I did, yeah.
I mean,
my OCD appreciates
4
that.
Roses and Maker's Mark, but then it's another 2 Buffalo Traces. So you have a Buffalo Trace and a Rip.
Mm-hmm.
So they are, at least the same distillery. So I was trying to do that in case we got confused or you wanted to move.
That's why
around.
I took the picture too, and I was like, I'm going to keep everything consistent.
Ooh. So this one on the nose, I kind of like this on the nose. Something different about it for sure. I can't put my nose on it.
See, I'm still getting. I'm getting floral again. I'm
getting floral, but I'm getting something else too. I'm getting something a little more complex than that. I'm definitely getting a strong floral. You're right. So more and more I smell it, but I'm getting I almost feel like I'm getting an oak or something off of this one.
I could do a leather out of this. I think I get.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's leather, but I mean
leather and oak are so similar.
You thinking this one's early times now?
Well, it's sweet.
It's also got a different finish on the front of the tongue. Sweet, back of the tongue, it almost gets like a musky. Is it musky? Musky. Okay.
Musky.
I always wonder if it's musty or musky.
No, that's musty. I think is what you're saying. Like musky's the fish.
Oh no, musty then.
Yeah. Okay. Musty.
But
like your grandma's claws. It's like musty, like mothball.
Almost like a cedar or something. Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's.
Remember that mothball bourbon we had?
This could be it.
God, I hope not.
I don't remember what it was though. Do you?
I do. It was that Knob Creek 15-year.
Oh yeah.
Store pick.
That reminded us of my grandma's house. That's
yeah.
right. Man, what's so funny though is I loved that bourbon when I had it until I put it up in that lineup.
Maybe that lineup was just so strong.
Could be. And I feel like sometimes whatever you have in bourbon, it affects what you have the rest of the night. Like I came home to Buffalo Trace after we had Elmer Tea that one night, and it wasn't good. But then I had it again the next night, and it was fine. I don't know.
Man, that Elmer Tea is still probably my number one.
That was good.
I'm looking forward to trying the Elijah Craig 18.
I know.
That I've heard. I know you recently had it this weekend.
It was so good. It just was so, and I know you don't like to use this for a bourbon, like people or whatever, they hate this term, but it was so smooth. And it was just good. I mean, it wasn't overpowering for being 18 years old. It wasn't overpowering on the oak, and it wasn't.
What's the proof on it? Do you remember?
I didn't check the proof.
Yeah.
I didn't. But and maybe that's why. Maybe they were able to cut it down to a non-super oaky, super leathery. Yeah. But for 18 years, because a lot of people think that when you're past 12 years, there's not much more you can do.
Not much more to gain.
More tannin and make it, just more tannic and stuff. I don't know.
I'm looking to pick up one of those Knob Creek 12 years. I'm going to try and find one of those this week. I don't think they're too hard to find around here.
Probably not. No. So what do you think on this one?
On my palate, I get like a sweet. I feel like I'm tasting corn right now, like sweet corn.
Maybe that's it.
And you know how corn is sweet, but corn also has it's kind of like that. It's not bitter, but it's that bland finish.
You know what? I think that's what I'm getting because
I'd be curious to know the corn content.
Yeah, bland's a good word. I like that. Interesting.
I don't know why.
The finish isn't super strong.
I'm going to guess this is Old Tub. I don't know why. I've never had Old Tub.
Well.
But for some reason, I just feel like this is going to be Old Tub.
All right.
I don't know.
So we should put predictions on here. That's a good.
Okay.
So what do you think the first one was? Do you have a guess on what the first one was? So you're going to say.
You know what? I left some. I'm going to take another little sip of it. I say number 2 is going to be Old Tub.
Which you have no reason to know because you've never had it
I've never
before.
had it, correct.
All right. So you think Old Tub. I'm going to hold off my guess on what these are.
I'm going to guess number 1's Evan Williams.
You think that's Evan Williams?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay. All right.
You know, they're all 100 proof, obviously, so
Yeah.
there's no way to try and use that as like a deciphering
there's
mechanism.
not one that should be any more potent than the
Correct.
other. All right. So we've got 2 down. What would you rate this one, you think, based on how do you compare this to the first one? You like it or less or more?
I think I like it a little less.
A little less.
A little less. So, you know, maybe like... you're rating this one. That's right. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to say even on the nose. I thought the nose was actually pretty good on this.
It was very similar to me.
Yeah, but there was something about it. I could I could get a little more vanilla in the nose than I did on the last one. It was floral, pretty heavily floral up front, which doesn't turn me off. But I will say on the palate, I would say it's less. I didn't like it as much in the mouthfeel wasn't. It did have sweet, but like you said, that bland kind of finish to it. And then the finish was underwhelming to me.
Yeah.
So. You know, I don't know if maybe that's a higher malted barley content. I don't know if it's maybe not as rye based or rye forward or something. I don't know.
I don't think I had hardly any rye. I didn't get any of that.
Right. So I'm going 3s across the board. So what do you think?
So I will do for the nose. I didn't like the nose that much. I'm going to say 2.6 for the nose, and then I'll do 3s for
both of them
for palate and finish. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if I would seek that out to buy it, but I would drink it if someone were to offer it to me.
For less than $25.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
right.
Neither one of these are bad.
Agreed.
I mean, I could drink either one of these just fine. If someone put this in my glass and gave it to me, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, agree.
And for $25, if I just needed something for the weekend and I know it's, whatever, there's bills coming up and I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, or I'm getting ready to make a trip to the Bourbon Trail, so I want to save up but I want some bourbon, I wouldn't shy away from this.
Yeah, I like to think say I'm on vacation, right? And there's a limited supply.
Yeah.
And
you see this, you know what it is.
Yeah.
You're, I'll get that.
Yeah. Like there's this and Jack Daniels. You know what I mean? I would pick this.
I have this horrible thought process, and it's a little selfish. Like bourbon is all about sharing, but sometimes when I know the people that are with me, like if I'm with you and Tyler, I wouldn't think, oh, let's pick this up.
Yeah.
But if I'm with a few other people that I know will drink bourbon, but it's not their thing, this is something I'd probably
I agree, because they're not going to be able to appreciate it as much.
And that's the only thing I hate to share. Like on one hand, I want to share awesome bourbon with people so that they can have that experience, people who haven't had it before. But then on the other hand, I'm like, if I know they're not going to appreciate it, I don't want to waste that experience on someone, or waste a really good pour on someone who's not going to care.
Right.
Like I'm not going to give someone my best bottle of bourbon the first time they're trying out bourbon. Maybe a month or two into hanging out with them, and they've had a couple other ones to try, and say, okay, now try this. Something, maybe. And if they're really, gung ho about getting into bourbon, I'll show them some stuff, but I'm not gonna give them my best stuff right out of the gates.
Right, you're not gonna
crack I feel like
open
that's
the blood
wasteful.
oath or something. Yeah,
right. So, all right. So we've got a 9. You've got a 10 out of possible 15 on the first one, and you've got an 8.6 out of a possible 15 on the second. And so I've got, same thing, 10 on the first one, and then a 9 on the second. So little bit similar. We're aligning, I'd say. So let's clean out that palate. I'm starting to look now. So for those of you who listen to the show, I've been talking about doing a bourbon room in my basement. I have a little walk-in closet that's been used for storage. I took my garage and built a whole bunch of storage shelves in there just to get everything out of that walk-in closet. And now I've started doing some preliminary recon, if you will, on things for the basement bourbon room. So one thing I'm going to do, I think, and a buddy of mine's going to help me build it, is a one of those bookshelf doors, so
those
it's
are cool.
hidden, and it's almost like a speakeasy. And then once I go in, I want it to be a little bit more rustic, so I want like a brick. You guys talked to me about that brick tile stuff. I think that's kind of neat. That's probably what I'm going to do, at least on part of it, if not all of it. But I think it's kind of like if I had to describe it, it's almost like a galley style, space. It's thin and long. That's what she said.
You're right. And there's something in there. Yeah.
So I think I'm going to do brick on one side, the brick tile, and then maybe I like that burnt wood.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the idea of like a burnt oak, kind of like the inside of an oak barrel,
That's a cool idea.
And then metal maybe meshing around behind the bottles or something, and then lit up in different places. So that's what I'm looking at right now. But
there's some of that corrugated tin that people do behind stuff as well that's cheap.
Yeah.
And it looks neat. Now, for the ceiling, I don't like that idea for the ceiling for that room at all.
I want a black ceiling, I think, to highlight so that it's not taking away any of the... I want the bourbon and the display case to highlight everything. So a black ceiling, I think, with some recessed lighting or something like that, and then lighting in the highlighting of the shelves, I think that will make the room just kind of pop. I don't know what to do with the floor, though. I almost want to leave it cement, but not the cement. Like I almost want it to be like a fake cement, even though it is cement because it's in my basement. But I'm not really sure what I want to do with that.
Like a pebble or a stone floor, potentially? Maybe, I don't know.
Because with the brick wall, and then I just want it to look almost like cellar-like, or cave-like,
absolutely.
So
I like the idea of a black ceiling too, because it kind of takes away the depth, and not that it's a short space, but it kind of creates an illusion that it's a higher space than it really is. I've noticed that in bars and stuff, they do that to hide all the ductwork and stuff. They just paint it all black.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of wanting to do that as well. And if I thought about, like, if we ever do shows from in there or recordings from in there, I thought about taking some black foam and putting it up on that ceiling too, just to help absorb it. And then if it's already a black ceiling anyway, it would blend in. So part of my thought process anyway. So let's move on to the third one here.
So I think this is going to be the early times. I really do. I swear.
That's funny. 2 out of the 3 so far.
Because I'm getting that like toffee on the nose, that toffee butterscotch.
As soon as you said that, I took a whiff, and I feel like you might be right.
Because that's the first thing I noticed about this was like, holy shit, this is like butterscotch.
And of all of the ones that we're tasting, I've become most acquainted, I think, with the early times.
Yeah.
But this one does have a familiar taste, or a nose, I should say, and toffee or butterscotch or whatever. I'm getting something like that.
Yeah. It's funny because the first time I tried this was on the show and stuff when I was a guest. And it was so good, I went out and bought a bottle of it, and I started drinking it immediately. And then it's a little hard to find now, so I'm kind of reserved when I drink it. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to tap into that.
Well, the next time when we go in December we'll stop by Party Source again at some point, probably on the way home, and I want to get a couple bottles.
Same.
Well, because you know the story behind it, right? Brown Forman makes it. They sold it to Sazerac, which is Buffalo Trace, just recently in the last few months. So now it's probably going to start becoming a little bit tougher. I don't know if they bought the barrels that were used for early times as well, or just the brand, or what. But it's going to start becoming more and more hard to find until at least they start production or whatever, I assume. So
yeah, definitely. I will be picking up probably 2 of these, and the price is so on point.
See, I'm not sure this is early times. I do get the when I taste it, I don't know that that's what I'm getting.
Gosh, I'm still going with its early times.
It may be.
I'll still put that prediction in for me.
You're better. So your prediction's early times. All right. So what what do you get on the nose? You mentioned some toffee, some
toffee butterscotch on the nose for sure. Palate, I'm getting sweet as well. I could say that butterscotch transfers through on the palate. It kind of like makes my lips tingle. I like it. Yeah. It's like some cocaine infused bourbon.
I like it. Well, all right. So I do get for me the nose is much richer on this one right now than I'm getting on the palate, in a good way. Like it's
yeah, even the finish. Do you chew on your bourbon ever? Do you like swish it around and chew on it some?
So I will do that the very first drink of the day to get that visceral reaction and get all the alcohol over all of the surfaces of my mouth, so that the next drink is a little more true. If that makes sense.
I'm doing that with this one. I've been doing that more and more where like I chew my bourbon.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I get more flavors, like they become more pronounced.
Sure.
And stuff. And I'm still getting, when I do that, I'm still getting like the butterscotch, the toffee. It's a very clean finish. And I guess when I say that, I mean I don't get like the burn or anything associated with it. But it's a long finish, like it's a lasting.
Well, I've noticed whenever I chew my bourbon, I get that lasting finish.
And that might be what's causing it. It's not like I'm trying to take a shot of medicine where I don't want to taste it, right?
Yeah.
And I throw it like to the back of my throat.
Right. No, I agree.
I'm trying to get all those flavors that I can. Yeah, I'm still thinking this is the early times. I'm going with that prediction. So I only have, 2 left? I have Old Granddad and Old Bardstown left, I believe.
Yeah. And I see the problem is 2 of them I've never had. So I'm going to have a tough time discerning.
Yeah.
You know. So what do you put on the ratings for these? It's your turn on this one.
So I'm going to go 4 on the nose.
Oh, all right.
What did I say what's my lowest one? A 3 on the nose?
2.6 on the.
Or I'm sorry, my highest is a 3 on the nose.
3 is the current.
Let's go 3.5 on the nose then, because I don't want to do a whole point jump. So 3.5, and then we'll do 4 and 4.
4 and 4.
Yeah.
So you really like the palate and the finish on this.
I do like this one, yeah. This is something that I would drink at home, absolutely. Like the first, like I would seek it out and purchase and drink at home and mix it into my repertoire.
I'm going to go, 3.5 on the nose for me. I'm going to stick with
3.5 across the board?
No, 3 on the palate, and I'm going to give it a 3.5 on the finish. I really did like the finish. I didn't enjoy the palate as much as I enjoyed the nose, and maybe that's why I'm giving, because I feel like the palate to me was underwhelming compared to the nose. The nose really just exploded in my nose. Like it was a great nose, and then I drank it, and I felt like that the nose set me up for something that I didn't end up getting.
Yeah. And when I do my ratings, it's kind of relative to what we're drinking today. You know, I know last week we did the Old Elk, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And while these aren't bad, I don't want to say that like that 3.5 is equal to this 3.5. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because nothing I've had tonight, no offense to any of these bourbons, are as delicious as what I had last week.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go out and find myself one of those weeded bourbons. This week I'm going to go look for it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I don't know that you'll find the weeded. That's the problem. I don't know that the weeded is in Ohio. It might be.
Okay. I thought I saw
I've got a link of where all their stuff is normally sitting,
Okay.
so I'll send that to you.
Okay.
Remind me. They sent it to me on an email.
Awesome.
And then I'm supposed to have a call with Alex tomorrow from Old Elk to discuss potentially doing a barrel pick with them, or at least discussing their barrel pick program.
Their barrel prick program.
Their barrel prick.
Bunch of assholes.
They prick the barrels and send you a sample. The barrel pick program. So that might be 2 barrel picks we have coming up.
That would be great.
One is tentatively in the works, and the other one is also, I guess, tentatively in the works. I mean, the details are going to determine whether or not we can do the Old Elk. It sounds like the other one that we are doing, I don't want to jinx it and say it out loud. Sounds like the other one that we're doing is probably going to happen. So
that was a lot of fun when we met there and everything. Again, I'm not going to like name drop, but
No,
when we did all that was such a great time, and I'll talk about it more another day.
Yeah, I think, and I'd like to do a recording at the barrel pick if we do that one.
That would be great.
I think that would be so fun, and even get some video of like some of the actual
the process of like walking around,
walking around, sitting down, the drinking, the process of tasting and deciding. I'd like to get as much video as I can.
Go to some wireless headsets, man. I have to step it up.
I know. But I can always do video and then just do like a highlight reel or something. Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on to this fourth one. What do you get on the nose for this one?
This is early times. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I really thought you were being serious. No. Like it's a good thing you left some room. All right.
Floral or baking spice again? Is that common to get so many floral notes on bottled and bonds?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Usually the older they get, the less floral they become, usually. But that's not always the case because depending on, the mash bill can really affect all of that.
And so I know bottled and bond has to be at least 4 years, but can it be over or can it be no more than 4 years?
No, because McKenna's 10 years.
Oh, that's right. Okay. That was a dumb question.
Yeah, it's just, it has to be at least 4 years. Mm-hmm. It has to be 100 proof. Has to be from the same, the batch they make it in has to be from the same season. So they can't mix last year's with this year's or springs with falls.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
So, yeah, it has to be in the same distilling season. And I think that's all of it, but it also has to be in a bonded warehouse. That's federally, monitored, I should say. Those are the big ones. There might be something I'm missing, but those are the big ones. And if I didn't already say, it has to be exactly 100 proof.
Yes, yeah.
So, on the nose for this one, this is probably my least favorite nose so far.
I know. That's why I'm like, I wanted to take another drink of water and try and get anything out that's still in there to make sure it's not affecting. I just get like some floral or baking. That it's not a lot.
I'm definitely getting a lot of floral.
I'll revisit the nose here in a second.
It's not bad.
It's not.
The finish is very mild for me so far, but the palate, the finish is actually now starting to kick up a little bit.
That's your reflux.
I don't have reflux.
God, I do.
No, you know what? It's not overly complex.
It's not. It's simplistic.
But the finish is surprising me. It's probably my favorite finish so far.
Really?
But the palate definitely. So
I had to take
the nose
drink.
the nose underwhelmed me. Unlike the one we did before, where the nose set me up and surprised me and ended up not being as good as I thought it was going to be. So the nose underwhelmed me compared to the flavor. I think the flavor for this one, for me, is better than the nose. But it's still not super complex. Like, there wasn't a lot to it. We're on 4, right?
We're on number 4.
Okay, let me make sure I'm grabbing the right one again.
This is probably my least favorite.
I'm getting corn on the nose.
Really?
Now that I go back to it, I'm getting corn.
I still get all floral on the nose.
Yeah.
This is my least favorite.
It's definitely my least favorite nose.
Yeah, I think it's my least favorite of everything. -2.
-2. It's probably my favorite finish.
Really?
But here's the thing. So for me, I'm going to say a 2.5 on the nose. Least favorite nose, and that shows on the rating. 3 on the taste, because it's just there. It's okay. I could drink it. It's not jumping out at me in a bad way. It's not jumping out at me in a good way. It's just there, and that's for a 20-some maybe dollar bourbon, maybe 17. I'm fine with that. It's not pissing me off that I'm having it. You know what I mean? It's just there, and I could drink it, and I could drink it all evening, and it wouldn't bother me.
So if you were at a friend's house and they poured you this, would you ask for another one or to try something else?
Well, I mean, if they had other stuff, I'd probably ask for other stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's not jumping out at me, but it's not offending me either. It's just an easy sip.
Yeah.
And then the finish is actually kind of strong. It disappeared for a second when I swallowed it, and then it kind of bloomed in my chest. Like it gave me almost like I don't know. It just like, that's probably the best way to describe it. It rebloomed in my chest like a couple seconds later.
Yeah. I don't.
And that's that doesn't offend me. That doesn't bother me to do that. I don't know.
I'm saying this is old Bardstown. Just FYI, because I remember
not liking it.
Not really liking it. I'm not a huge fan of this. I feel like I get like a powdery finish for some reason.
Okay.
I'm going to give it probably 2.5s across the board.
2.5 all the way?
Yeah. I think that's my lowest rating of anything.
It is.
Yeah.
You haven't given a 2.5. 2.6 was your lowest nose, and that was the one you thought was Old Tub.
Okay.
For generic reasons.
I like the name Old Tub. If I were to buy a book by its cover, like Old Tub has probably the coolest label.
Yeah, it does have a cool label.
I like it. I like the vintage look of it, which I know that's what it's an old mash bill.
It's a throwback. Yeah, it's a throwback mash bill. It's been redone. To be honest, I love Early Times and Evan Williams too. Evan Williams is just plain and simple. Mm-hmm. Early Times is kind of like fancy. Old Granddad, I've never bought Old Granddad before today. The 100 Bond. Everyone talks about it, but then that orange and green, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Was it hard to find or was it pretty easy?
No, it's easy.
Okay.
It's everywhere.
That 114 can get, I want to say hard to find, but like sought after maybe.
The 114 is starting to be on our shelves.
Yeah.
It's starting to now show up on our shelves. So I'm going to drink some water, get that out of my system. It wasn't bad, but it tied my number 2 so far.
My toilet.
Not
I hope that's the early times.
Number 2.
I hope it's the early times.
So funny. If your least favorite today was the early times, that would be so funny.
I'm gonna smash this glass and leave.
You love early times, so that's actually kind of funny if that's the case.
I'll riot. I'd be like, you mixed them up. They're wrong.
All right, so let's nose into this last one. You got anything big going on? You were just sick. You had COVID part 2, right?
No, it was not COVID part 2. So I had some kind of GI thing last week where I felt like I was mule kicked in the gut, man. The cramping, that is the worst stomach cramping I think I've ever had. That's what I kept saying. I'm like, can I have some cranberry juice? I'm on my period over here.
That's yeast infection, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
A UTI actually is what that's for.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But, But man, these cramps in my stomach, and of course, frequent bowel movements there going on, and
you still should have come with me to freaking Century Bar.
Oh, I was so dehydrated. There's this little thing. Non-medical people may not know this, but you can pinch the skin on top of your hand to see how long it stays up, and that'll tell you how dehydrated you are. When you're hydrated, it should be elastic and spring back really quick. Your skin is springing back. Whenever you're sick or something, that's a good tail to see how long the skin stays before it's
springing back right now.
I'm probably dehydrated still. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times at work, I don't get time to drink water.
Yeah,
we're wearing masks all day and we're running around. And
I'd say that's one thing that I tend to do well throughout the day.
Is hydrate.
And if I don't, then I freaking chug some water before bed and Gatorade and stuff like that. Just because I drank the shit out of Gatorade Zero. Because it helps me use the water, it has the electrolytes.
I've been doing those electrolyte packets, like the IV hydration.
Right. Because if you just drink water, you'll end up passing a lot of it through. And electrolytes help you kind of retain that water and use it the way you're supposed to. So I'll have a Gatorade Zero before bed every night. Mainly because I drink a bourbon or 2 every night, and it's just a way that helps me not feel it in the morning.
Yeah. There's actually, they call it water intoxication, or it has a medical name that I'm drawing a blank on, and it'll probably come back to me in a moment, where you can drink too much water, or you can pee out all your electrolytes and die.
Right. I don't do that.
Yeah. Just saying my point of building off of you need the electrolytes and stuff.
Yeah, too much water is not a good thing.
Hyponatremia. See, I told you. I needed a minute.
You just needed to smell some bourbon.
I know.
As soon as he sniffed the bourbon,
I didn't look at my phone. He'll attest to that.
So while he didn't. It came to him from a sniff of bourbon. So while he's nosing this, so I did go to Century Bar in Dayton, and it is legitimately in downtown Dayton. And I had to drive around the block twice before I realized they had a little pop-up sign that they just, those ones that kind of fold out and then sit down.
Like a little easel?
Yeah, almost like a, floor is wet type of sign that sat out in front of the door. And it was in the construction zone of Dayton. And I drove past it the first time and ended up going to this pizza place that was really good called Old Scratch Pizza in Dayton, because I dropped off my son basically to get laid, I think. He's a junior in high school. He's dating a girl at Dayton, University of Dayton.
Wait a minute. He's dating a college chick?
Yes. And
what?
Shut up.
How does this happen?
I don't know.
Props to him.
The weird thing is he's also got girls at his high school that drive him around. So he has no
Your son's a pimp.
urgency to get his license. It's what's pissing me off. He's over 16 years old and he just doesn't have his license yet.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you when you told me you were going to Dayton. I was like, I thought Brylan was 16. Well, I shouldn't say his name on the air.
Yeah,
whatever.
I still wouldn't let him drive there, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a long, driving the highway and stuff, 70's a busy interstate and everything. But I was like, does he not drive? Or I cannot believe. So did she have like a dorm? Did he like go to her dorm room?
So I dropped him off there. I went to find that bar, and it didn't open till 3. At least that's what it said on their website. But COVID's always different right now.
Right.
Like things you just never know. So I went to this Old Scratch pizza place. I'm like, I better fill up on some food before I go there and have some
carbohydrates.
Some carbohydrates. And I got some. Oh, it was good. It was good pizza. It was good.
Haven't you heard that thing? Pizza's like sex. Like
when it's good, bad, it's good.
Yeah. When it's good, it's really good. When it's
My
bad,
wife says that
it's
all
still
the time,
good.
which makes me wonder about
right
how good I am. So anyway, I go down there. It's Old Scratch Pizza. It's good. They have beer. They have pizza. They had some football on. I was able to watch some football. South Carolina upset Auburn.
Yeah.
That was a fun game to watch. Then I went and drove to Century Bar. You had to have a reservation.
Really?
Yeah, because of COVID and everything.
Oh, okay.
You could tell probably when it's not COVID season that the place is probably hopping.
Is it small, like square footage?
No, it's decent sized. It's almost like one of those dive places that are deep but not wide.
Okay.
But holy shit, the amount of bourbon they had. Like, I bet you 90% of what they had on their bar, and I put it on Instagram, so if you're listening, check out Instagram. I put some pictures on there. The shelves had probably 7 to 10 rows of bourbon.
I saw that.
And there
picture,
were 4
yeah.
different sections of, and it was mostly bourbon. There was some whiskey and scotch. There was some wine, but most of it was bourbon. So when I went there, I had the 2018 limited edition 4 Roses release, which is a big one. They do that once a year. And then I did the the Elijah Craig 18.
18, yeah.
Which we've been, looking for. So it released in Ohio this week, and we kept missing it. I just kept barely missing it every time I went somewhere.
That sucks.
Oh, it did suck. And so that was kind of fun for me to get to taste something I've been trying to hunt, actually legitimately hunt. And it was good. It was so good. But the bar was so cool. I could imagine it. Like, it was neat and intimate because of how little people there were there. And there were 4 people behind the bar. So even there was maybe 20 people in the place and 4 people behind the bar. So they were able to keep up with us just fine. Service was great. They were informative. I was like, he goes, "What are you looking for?" I said, "Something I don't have at my house." He starts naming off stuff. So I was like, "No, I've got that.
Got it.
I've got that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "All right. So let me dig in a little deeper." And then while he was thinking, I was like, "What do you have, Elijah Craig 18?" I was like, "I'll take that." And they had special barrel picks for them from a whole bunch, a few Russell Reserves, a Blanton's.
I like Russell's Reserve a lot.
No, it's good. Yeah, no, I do too.
I don't visit it enough.
And I've got those over there that we need to get, and I'm still trying to track down our 2 bottles. I'm getting totally segued. Let's get into what's the nose on this one? What do you get on this one? This is number 5. This is our last one.
I don't get a lot on the nose for this one. I don't know if you do.
I'm getting alcohol on the nose, like ethanol.
I felt like I was almost swimming in it a second ago, like I'm snorkeling in bourbon because I had my nose down there so far.
That was the first time I've actually gotten my mustache in the actual glass and got it.
Because it's such a light nose. I think we're both doing the same thing.
I was trying to get into it. Yeah,
that's why I feel like I'm snorkeling in bourbon right now.
Now that I've got on my mustache, that's all I can smell, and it's actually...
I should wipe some on my mustache.
Your mustache. I'm actually getting some caramel.
Really
and some floral.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to revisit the nose after I take a drink. And I'm just going to go for it here.
So one thing I love to do is when the glass is empty. Do you ever go back in and nose the glass after it's empty? I
haven't. No, that's a good idea though.
No, it's so good because it leaves it almost like a film, or there's some remnants to it that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like it's a more pure. No,
whatever. Pure is not a word.
Yeah, puree.
Puree. The palate on this is very good. Sweet corn is what I'm getting.
This is early times.
This is the early times.
No, you know what? I'm going to guess this one's the Evan Williams. I'm going to make my first out loud guess because I've never had it. I'm guessing this is Evan Williams.
I mean, the only thing I have left is the old Grand Dad. So obviously by default, it has to be that. Or for, you know what I mean, for my selections. I'm not changing things, correct?
Yeah. So it's my turn to do the ratings. I'm going to do the finish. Didn't really do much for me on this one. But it's not bad.
I like this.
It's a good finish.
Mm-hmm.
I get a little bit of oak, but it doesn't stick with me. It's not giving me that Kentucky hug that you get. So I'm going to actually bump that up. It's a good finish, just not a long finish. It's not a strong finish, if that makes sense. And I think it's more back of the tongue for me, but it's not giving me that strong finish. So I'm going to say on the nose, I'm going to give it a 3 on the nose because it wasn't super good on the nose, but I'm going to give it a 4 on the palate and a 3.5 on the finish. So for me, that's a 10.5.
I'm going to say 2.5 on the nose, only because it's underwhelming.
Yeah, it was, but that was tied with my lowest nose.
Yeah, same. I think my other lowest nose was the one prior that we tasted, and I didn't care for that nose. This nose, there's just nothing really there.
Right.
And then I think I'll do a 3 on the palate, and then a 2.8 on the finish. There's something about the finish. I wish it...
What did you say? 2.8?
2.8 on the finish, yeah. I like the palate. I don't care for the finish.
Okay.
And I mean, maybe I need another swig of water. I'm getting a little bit of that powdery taste again on the finish. And
so this is your second lowest rating.
Finish.
Just so you know.
Oh, son of a bitch. It's so hard to do these scales like this.
It is.
It's early times.
So this is interesting because your highest rated,
I might be changing this. Hold on, let me think about this.
So far is the highest rated of our.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But
was that
my highest rated is not. My highest rated is like the third place.
So
based on your current ratings.
Maybe I need a new rating system. I need like a Mario rating system. I give it 2 mushrooms and a star. So I took a swig of water to kind of clean my palate out because I was afraid there was just too much going on. I like the palate more than I thought. So let's change that 3 to a 3.3 maybe.
Or on the palate?
Yeah, more on the palate. And I'll give the finish a 3. I'll bump it back up. I will. I'm not getting as much powdery, so I'm wondering if there was something left over from this last one in my mouth. Because remember, I got a lot of powder.
So you're moving your nose up to a 3?
No. The nose I'm keeping at 2.5.
The finish you're moving to
the finish to a 3, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the palate to like a 3.3. We'll do that. I know I'm making things difficult.
No, not at all. You're fine.
And
so 2.5, 3.3, and 3.
Yes. And I'm going to send you, now that we've sampled everything.
8.8, right?
Yes. I'm sending you the photo of, is this how you poured them the way they're lined up right now?
Nope.
Okay. So you should be having a photo come through. And this is the vials that I lined up in front of them and how I poured them. So I obviously did not do A, B, C, D, E, F. Well, didn't go past F, or past E, I should say, but your service down here sucks. It's taking a second.
Join my Wi-Fi, man.
Oh, it's probably because I'm on my VPN too, but yeah, I should join the Wi-Fi.
You send it directly to me?
Yeah, I could airdrop it too.
That's easiest. Just do that.
Yeah.
Airdrop it to me. I want to know which one I want to dive into next.
I forget about the airdrop.
Okay, so while you're airdropping to me, just to renew here, or revisit, you have number 3.
Do you want it to the iPad Pro?
No.
Or what do you want it?
To here, to my iPhone. Dude iPhone. Yep, got it. So you have number 3 rated the highest, and
yes.
You think that's Early Times, which is
a
big surprise. I have number 5 rated the highest, And that
Do you really?
So I'm going to guess. So let's just guess this here before we say it.
I'm gonna riot.
You're guessing Evan Williams for number 1. Number 2 is Old Tub. Number 3 is Early Times. Number 4 is Old Bardstown. Number 5 is Old Grand Dad. Those are your guesses.
Yes.
My guesses are number 1 is Early Times. Number 2 is Old Bardstown. Number 3 is Old Tub. Number 4 is Old Grand Dad. Number 5 is Evan Williams. So, all right. So let's check this out here. So, in actuality, the first one, you motherfucker, is Evan Williams, which is what you said.
I was right. Oh, that's funny.
And you never even had it before.
I've never had. That's just beginner's luck, man.
That just pisses me off.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
So, okay. All right. Now.
So by process of elimination,
Jesus,
that means...
So number 2 for us was fucking Old Tub, which is what you fucking said. God bless it.
If I get all 5 of them right, you're pouring me a great glass after this. If I get all 5 of them right.
Whatever the hell you want if you get all these right. All right. So the next one you missed.
Damn it. I was so confident.
So you thought the next one was Early Times. It was Old Granddad.
Really?
Bottled and Bond.
I would go out and buy that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Everyone says that. I've just never bought it because I just don't think it looks that good.
It's an ugly bottle.
It's an ugly bottle.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So Old Granddad is number 3.
If you tell me number 4 is Early Times, I'm not going to believe it. I will not believe it.
I got to get one of these right. I've got to get one.
I think you
But
you
I
said
don't think
early,
I'm going to.
You said Early Times was the last one, correct?
No, I said Evan Williams. I can't get any of them right.
Yeah.
I've missed all of them so far. Damn it. So the next one is C. My C was...
Wait a minute. It should be D. I thought we said C was Old Granddad. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm thinking like A, B, C.
3 was... Yeah, I'm going...
Number 4. I get... Yes,
number 4.
I'm with you. Sorry.
You're going to hate yourself.
I am.
This is the only one you didn't get right. Early Times.
Nuh-uh. That's Early Times?
It's Early Times.
There's no way.
It is. Look. Early Times is...
I think you mixed these up. I don't know.
No, I didn't.
I cannot believe that. I mean,
wait. Hold on. No. I may have messed up. Hold on.
It'd be a coming to Jesus moment.
No, so this is C. And C was Old Bardstown. Okay. And now you got that one right too? Damn it. So you've only missed 2.
So Evan Williams, I was right. I thought Old Bardstown was the second one we did.
No, it was Old Tub.
Old Tub. Oh, I got that one right as well.
Yeah, you got the first 2 right. You missed Early Times. It was Old Granddad, which means the last one
is Early
Times, and you said it was Old Granddad.
Yeah, so I just had those 2 swapped. That's pretty damn good.
So let me make sure that's actually accurate and I didn't mess something up. D. No, wait. Hold on. I messed up.
Oh, my God.
No, I didn't. No.
I like to pretend that I was right on most of them, so can we just go with that?
Is Early Times. No, I'm right. I was looking at the wrong picture because I did this and I kept looking at this.
Oh, okay.
But this is A, B, C, D, E.
So yeah. The very last one is Early Times.
Last one's Early Times.
Okay.
So Early Times was my highest ranked.
Yeah.
And it wasn't yours.
Was it my second highest or no?
It was your third highest.
What was my second highest?
Your second highest was Evan Williams. The first one we tasted.
Grant.
So I would do, because that was our first one we tasted, I would taste the last 2, or the first and the last, I should say, and revisit and see what you think.
So you want me to revisit or Evan Williams and Early Times?
Yeah, just to see if you think it still holds up, because Evan Williams was your second highest. And what's funny is Early Times, you gave one of the lower noses.
And that one has a very strong nose to me. That was the second
lowest nose.
Wow, that's really surprising.
But I gave it a decent nose, if you remember.
Yeah, you did.
I gave it my second best nose. Old Tub, I gave my best nose. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was actually Old Granddad. I gave Old Granddad my best nose. That was the one you thought was Early Times.
Yeah.
But that was so my rating is, just so we can go back through, my best one ended up being Early Times. That's so funny because that's your favorite.
Yeah. But in my defense, I haven't had all of these.
And Evan Williams and Old Granddad tied for second for me. And then Old Tub and Old Bardstown actually got 5th, tied for 5th, if you will.
I cannot believe I didn't get much on the nose from the early times. But
so for you, your best was early times, or I'm sorry,
Old Granddad was my best.
I keep looking at what you guessed.
Correct.
Old Granddad was your favorite. Then your second favorite was Evan Williams. Third favorite was Old Granddad, which is actually a decent little drop off.
Wait, you said Old Granddad twice.
I keep looking at what you thought it was.
Early times.
So your first was Old Granddad. Your second was Evan Williams. Your third was Early Times. Your fourth was Old Tub, and your fifth was Old Bardstown. So that actually holds true. My worst was Old Bardstown as well. That holds true to what we thought in Louisville.
Yeah.
Because we had it in Louisville. We didn't think it was the greatest there. It didn't have a huge showing. That's a Willet Distillate, and I like to rhyme that.
I know, Willet Distillate.
So I'm going to go back real quick to Evan Williams and Early Times. So
I still like the Evan Williams.
Evan Williams, Tyler loves Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. And it's a $17 bottle of bourbon. At least for us.
Yeah.
Old Granddad's $20. But they're $7.50. The Early Times is a liter. And it's like 21 or 22 or something like that. $20.99, I think, if I remember right. So, I mean, really, Old Bardstown, I don't remember how much I paid for that, but it was less than $25.
Yeah.
Old Tub was like $22. I mean, these are all good. I'll drink any one of these.
I would not go out of my way to buy the Old Bardstown.
Yeah.
Any of the others, I would.
But there's none of these that offended me. None of these I thought, oh my God, that's terrible.
I was offended. My people were offended.
So I'm going to go back to the Evan Williams real quick and try that up against the Early Times. It's so funny that I love Early Times.
Yeah.
I do, and I'm so glad that ended up being my highest. But what's funny about the Early Times is it had an okay nose. But the palate for me was by far and away what made it win for me. It was a 4. It's the only 4 I gave the entire time, and that was the palate.
And I hate this. So now I am getting more sweet on the nose with the Early Times.
Too late.
But am I like talking myself into it?
Right, that's the thing. Now that you know what they are you changing your mind?
Right, is my brain like, that's weird.
God, that Evan Williams is good. I just revisited the Evan Williams. That was the first one we tasted, and that's good. And I'm going to go back to the Old Granddad now because I liked.
See, this isn't fair. So the Early Times, I just took another drink of it, and I feel like I'm getting, I don't know, some different like toffee notes. Maybe is the word toffee, but maybe butterscotch is a better word than toffee.
You know what's funny about the Early Times is I wasn't getting much of a nose until I got it into my mustache, and then it was sitting there in my nose, and it was just like,
yeah.
And then but I still didn't give it a very high nose. I gave it a 3.
I gave it a low nose.
I gave it a 4 on the palate and 3.5 on the finish. So it was tied for. So I gave 3 different 3.5s. I gave Evan Williams a 3.5 on the finish. I gave Old Granddad a 3.5 on the finish for different reasons too, and Early Times a 3.5 on the finish. So Early Times was the only one I gave a 4 on the palate.
Really?
Yeah. The rest of them, that was the only thing I gave over a 3.5 with the palate on the Early Times.
I gave the Old Granddad a 4, I think, on the palate, if I remember. I think I was 3.5, 4, 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to revisit that one in a second. I'm going to visit Old Bardstown again.
It's so funny to me that you had never had Evan Williams before or Old Tub.
Yeah.
And you'd only had Old Bardstown. Of those 3, you got those 3 right, and only one of those you had before.
So
that's so funny.
I've had Evan Williams several times in college, which
Bottled and Bond or just regular?
I was going to say just the regular.
Yeah.
I mean, that was many, many years ago. I'm getting old. I liked Evan Williams. It was a budget bourbon for us back in the day. You know what I mean? Well, you got to remember being a college kid and stuff too.
Bottled and Bond for $17.
Yeah, I mean that's a great buy for a Bottled and Bond.
And it did well in ours. I mean, it technically got second place.
But I would buy a lot of
Early
Ezra
Times
Brooks.
Got third place.
Man, that's hard to.
It was my favorite. Evan Williams was my second, tied with Old Granddad. So I'm happy. What I am happy about is that I've read things about Old Tub not being super complex and not being great, and we didn't like Old Bardstown in Louisville. So
I like
It's
that that's
not we
consistent.
didn't like it. Right. That's so what I'm happy about is that my nose and my palate actually align with what I hear other people say. Evan Williams, Old Granddad, and Early Times. Those are 3 supposedly really good bottled and bond budget bottled
bourbons.
and bonds. Yeah. So I'm happy that my nose and palate aligned with that. That makes me feel good because I knock my palate all the time. You hear me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Isn't that a cool background right there?
Did you take that photo?
No, that's from LinkedIn, actually.
I don't care about it then if you didn't take it.
But it's a cool picture.
No, it is a cool picture. I agree. What if I send you another picture? I'm like, these are the real ones. We have to do this all
like
over
the Scooby-Doo second
Right.
mask reveal. No, I'm actually okay with this. This didn't really throw off anything. The 2 that you rated above Early Times are 2 you'd never had before. Mm-hmm. So you can't.
So that's okay.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, correct.
So
if I would have rated Old Bardstown as number 1, then that would have been like a weird thing, right? It'd have been like, well, this isn't consistent at all.
yeah, I think you're good on that sense because you picked your favorite early or budget bourbon is that Early Times, but you'd never had the Evan Williams. You'd never had the Old Granddad.
Yeah.
So but I'm actually pumped about the Old Granddad and the Evan Williams.
Yeah, I'm going to go get a bottle of the Old Granddad for sure.
That was on Cemetery.
Okay.
And it was also at the Britton Farms Giant Eagle. I think that's where I got that.
Cemetery is a good spot. I don't want to say that so people go there more now, but
I got this. Oh, and I got it. So another thing I want to do is a 25 and above bottled and bond, like 25 to 50.
Okay.
I want to do that next. And
Yeah.
I've got one for that I picked up today.
Nice.
And I've got, we've got like Old Forester bottled and bond, 1897 or whatever it is, and a couple others that are bottled and bond. I think that'll be fun to do.
Yeah, the 1897, I liked it.
Yeah.
There was only
I think
one.
1870 was the only one we it's not that
Correct.
we didn't like it. It was just our least
The
favorite.
least favorite of the 4. Correct, yes.
We have to be careful when we say we didn't,
Yeah, to say I didn't like it just means I didn't like it as well as the
As the
others
others.
compared to that day.
Yeah.
So, I like all bourbon. I haven't met a bourbon I don't like.
I've met a couple, but not very many.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to find a bourbon that I'm not enjoying lately. And it's funny because I come down here and you've seen my collection. It's
phenomenal.
ridiculous. And I come down here and I'm like, God, what do I want to have
Today.
tonight? Right. So you haven't had this yet, right?
I haven't had the 46 cask. I have been drinking the shit out of the
good.
Maker's, like just the regular Maker's cask.
Yeah. Maker's Cask is good. Maker's in general is good. It gets
Yes.
overlooked. I was just listening to the Bourbon Lens today, and they were doing an episode on Maker's Mark, and they did 101, regular Maker's, 46, and I think they also did the 46 cask strength. They didn't get into any private selects or anything, but it's interesting because we talk about Maker's Mark all the time. A lot of time it's people's gateway into bourbon. Because it is a wheated bourbon, it's not super, hard on the palate.
Yeah, overwhelming.
It's not spicy. It's not crazy. And I think what's interesting about Maker's Mark is because of its availability, no one really goes out of their way to grab it, but it's just a good bourbon.
And that kind of goes back to my thing with, and I don't mean to bash Blanton's. I really don't. And I've came off that way lately, and I don't mean to.
We all do it in a sense because we've all hunted for it.
Yeah.
But
it's that elusiveness, right? Just because something's elusive doesn't mean that it's
off is I
good
really
or
enjoy
better.
Blanton's, and I'll look in my damn closet. I'll see I've got 5 bottles of Blanton's in there.
Jesus Christ!
And I won't freaking drink it because I'm like, well, I don't know when I want.
Don't know when I'm going to get another one.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because it's not like even if I finish one, I'm going to finish the other 4 that same night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you'll find
It's
another one
stupid.
before you finish one, I'm sure.
I'll find another one before I finish 5.
Well, yeah.
For sure. And that's the thing. Like, even if we just happen to go to Buffalo Trace on the day that they release it, I mean, the odds are you're going to get it. They're almost twice a week at the distillery.
Yeah.
And I've been to the distillery 5 times in the last year. So, I mean, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah. I'm doing a trip to Old Bardstown in, I think, around New Year's Eve. Bardstown. Yeah, Old Bardstown is the bourbon. I don't know why I said
that's
that.
what we were drinking.
Yeah. No, I know.
You're going to be going. We're staying there. I changed our reservation.
Yeah, so I'm doing it around New Year's Eve because the girl that I'm dating, a friend of hers, it's her in-laws, they have a cabin there kind of in the outskirts. So
why aren't we staying there when we go?
Well, because I've never met these people yet.
Oh,
but,
okay. Well, get in good.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll get in good. I'll get the cabin for like next time. But I'm going to try and hit up a few things then as well. Like Frankfurt's out of my way, but
it's not really out of your way.
It's not.
It's like 40 minutes away
to go.
there.
And I could even like on the way home hit it and just kind of make like a loop or something like that.
I would hit it on the way there. Are you going? When are you going there? In the evening?
I don't know yet. I don't.
Like if
it's just like
when we go to the Bourbon Trail on December 4th, we're leaving at the butt crack of dawn.
I'm cool with that.
And we're going to probably hit Buffalo Trace at 9 a.m. when they open. If I can get a tasting, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And then we'll go probably from there down to Bardstown, hit Heaven Hill.
See, we're going to hit Heaven Hill too because it's there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hopefully, because I'm wondering if they do that Elijah Craig 18 ever there.
I don't know. I've read a little bit of both. So we're going to hit Heaven Hill and Luxco all on that same day. Probably Wild Turkey too if we can.
Was Luxco there in Bardstown?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Heaven Hill and Luxco are right by each other.
We drove so many places
and
I couldn't remember.
Willett and Heaven Hill are like a mile apart.
I knew those two were very close.
Luxco is in Bardstown. It's like the opposite side of Bardstown.
Yeah, I want to get one of those Lux 12.
I know, me too.
So
and I want to get another Lux 12. I want to get another Rebel 10 year because I've heard that they may not be having it. And I want to get the Blood Oath from this year if it's still
Pack
there.
6.
Because I have Pack 5, but I don't have 6.
If they don't, I have that 6, and we can do a tasting with those two for sure. Have you opened your 5 yet?
I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't opened my 6 either.
So
it'll make it a little less painful if we open them together.
Right. My guess is that we'll do Buffalo Trace. We'll do Heaven Hill, Luxco, and Wild Turkey, and hopefully Woodford Reserve all on the same day.
Yeah. Pick up a Baccarat
on Saturday. Well, we're not doing that. They probably won't even have it at the bar.
I'm kidding.
But I've heard, even though they don't have a crazy expansive like offering, their tour is supposed to be outstanding. So I'd love to do their tour. And then the Heaven Hill tour, if you do their special tasting tour, it's like the Speakeasy tour or something like that. You get access to their better bourbon. You get like a one-time purchase.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do those two tastings. If I can get the hard hat at 9 a.m., or it's actually called the
For Buffalo Trace?
E.H. Taylor tour.
Oh, okay.
If I can get that at 9 a.m. or close to it, then we'll do that and maybe do 3 tours in one day. We've got the Stitzel Weller tour already booked for Saturday.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
It should be the last thing we do. So I figure we'll do, like, first thing in the morning on Saturday, we'll do Maker's Mark. Mm-hmm. Then head up to Louisville, hit Michter's, Old Forester, and Stitzel Weller. That's my thinking.
Yeah. I'd like to get a Michter's single barrel if they have it.
Well, I think Michter's or Angel's Envy, one of the two allows you to fill your own bottle.
That's cool.
From the line, which is cool. I think it's Angel's Envy. I can't remember. Anyway, I know we're kind of segueing big time now. We've been recording for about an hour. Any takeaways or thoughts here besides your GI track?
No. I'm really glad that I got to try this Old Grand Dad. I'm glad I got to try it in a blind and then it won because same as you, I've heard great things about it, and this just kind of confirms.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. For me, it does.
I'd never bought it for the reason only that I didn't like the label.
Yeah, can't judge a book by its cover.
You can, but you'd be wrong a lot of times. Evan Williams was good too, and Tyler talks about Evan Williams Bottled and Bond all the time, and I'm just glad that we had those. So right now we have Early Times Bottle, Old Granddad, and Evan Williams is the first 3 from left to right, just sitting out. And I'm glad, like, those 3 are...
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have those anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Old Tub's not bad, but it's... I don't know. It's just... When you think about them, revisiting an old recipe or something, you want it to be something special. And that just didn't really do much for me.
But is it an old recipe because it wasn't successful? I mean, honestly,
you know, maybe it could be, and and they just thought, we'll at least get some people to buy one,
right?
So, I mean, and it wasn't bad.
No,
it wasn't bad at all. But I think that what I'm happy about is that the 3 that we tried out that were 1, 2, and 3 were the 3 that I've heard the most about being good bottled and bonds.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good about my palate. That's all.
Same.
And this Henry McKenna, we're going to throw that in the 25 to 50. So
I think we tried that at Heaven Hill, if I remember.
We did.
So, and I think I liked it then.
I've got 3 bottles of that.
Nice.
Well, 2.5. I still haven't opened my Willet pot still either.
I haven't either. And I have not had that. So I'm kind of, I almost want to try it when we do a podcast sometime to be like a first time trying it. Yeah.
I think so too. What did you think about the decorations in the house?
I love it.
Halloween threw up in our house.
I like it though a lot. I just feel bad that Halloween, like people start in October, so it's like for 30 days, because you know what I mean. Then Thanksgiving is next, and you can kind of decorate for Thanksgiving longer.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, no, because it's in
that crossover to Christmas.
Because it's only 3 weeks of Thanksgiving of November usually. So what we do now is we do our harvest in September.
Our harvest. Yeah.
It sucks because like so this is the thing. When we would do our decorating, my wife loves decorating the house for different holidays.
It looks great though.
So Christmas is a huge one, Halloween's a huge one, and then there's like Thanksgiving and Harvest, which are almost the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so we would do like Harvest Thanksgiving, then Halloween, then back to Harvest Thanksgiving for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and then
that's
Christmas.
Too much.
So now what we've decided to do is Harvest Thanksgiving up until October 1st. Total Halloween.
Till Christmas?
Until like a week or so past Halloween.
Okay.
And then we're going to go Christmas all in.
No, that's
like mid-November.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. And it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to freaking decorate 4 different times. It's
when do you
now.
put up your tree? That's the big one.
Usually the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Okay. Yeah, some people are like putting up their Christmas tree like way before Thanksgiving even happened.
This Heaven Williams is good.
I know. I just finished mine. It was delicious.
I just finished mine too. The 2 of mine that aren't finished are the 2 that finished the worst.
So I'm saving my old granddad for last, but what is this? Old Tub next?
Yeah, I've got Old Tub and Old Bardstown left.
Yeah, I have Old Tub and this old granddad left that I'm going to savor my old granddad.
So the Old Tub for me was the same rating as the old granddad. Now on the on the palate, they were the same. I gave the edge to the nose on the Old Tub, and I gave the edge on the finish to the old Bardstown.
We need to open our bottles that we did from Bourbon 30.
I know.
I'm really excited to try that. Like, I don't know
That'll
when is
be
it.
2 weeks from now because we've got the interview with Smoke Wagon next week.
I'm excited about that.
You just heard it here first. Smoke Wagon coming up next week. Hopefully I can edit that quickly and get it out on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, what are you doing you're coming Halloween? You come 40 minutes early, we can record a quick episode.
This weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know this weekend was a Halloween party.
Yeah, it's the 24th.
I didn't know. I just thought it was like a party. Did I have to dress up?
Up to you.
Okay.
I'm deciding whether or not I want to make my chili.
I have a good outfit. I already know what I'm wearing.
Don't make it
it's great.
Yukon.
No, Yukon Cornelius. No. This
just
is
for you guys listening. If you haven't checked our Instagram, I haven't added Brett to our bio yet, but he looks just like fucking Yukon Cornelius.
That was my Halloween outfit last year.
Yeah, and I think the year before too, maybe.
I can't remember what I did.
I feel like you've done it more than once.
No, I only did Yukon Cornelius once.
Well, maybe
I've done Macho Man Randy Savage a few different times.
I can see that.
That's pretty good. I have a pretty sweet like white Speedo that I wear, and I have like a wig with like this long hair.
Oh God.
And that's pretty good. My outfit that I'll do this weekend, it's very simplistic, but it's pretty hilarious at the same time.
Don't tell me because we'll talk about it.
I won't.
We'll talk about it. Maybe, you know what? When we do the Smoke Wagon, maybe we should be in our costumes.
I mean, I can. Yeah.
It's a Monday night, the week of Halloween.
I will gladly wear my outfit on Monday night.
Maybe we should do that. We shouldn't tell Tyler, so he's the only one out of costume. That would be funny as shit.
Oh, that's great.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and sign off here. What's your Instagram handle? Or how can they find you on social media?
So it is my full name, Brett Paul Bryan, and that's 2 T's, BrettPaulbryan. I don't post a lot, but I'm starting to post more.
We tag you a lot.
Yeah,
we
you guys
tag you more than you actually post.
Yeah, I was kind of just stagnant with social media.
Yeah,
I was.
No, I hear you.
I work for a very large corporation. Corporation, is that the right word? I don't know. But I get kind of sometimes weird about posting things because
I hear you.
they look at everyone's stuff.
Do they really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And people have made like slanderous remarks against them, and they are quick to let you go. And I have nothing bad to say about the place I work whatsoever. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it just sometimes
You
makes
just
me a
wanna be
little
careful.
Yeah, I just want to be careful with stuff.
That's smart. People are losing their jobs lately because of political views.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's kind of stupid right now. It's almost Gestapo-ish.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, I didn't have a lot to post. It'd be like pictures of my dog, and people were like, oh, great, another picture of Brett's dog. No one cares.
You should start posting some of your smoked meats and stuff, man.
So, I
do
love.
a great job with that stuff.
I did burnt ends, brisket burnt ends this weekend.
So are you doing something for this weekend?
Yeah, I will gladly do something this weekend.
So I'm thinking about making chili on Saturday. But
Okay.
I'm thinking about partially smoking something first. I don't want to finish it because I like the chili to finish it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about smoking something for like an hour or two or 3 or 4, just smoking it and then putting it into the chili.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I've never done that before. My chili's outstanding, but I've never done that before.
Everyone thinks their chili's outstanding.
No, my chili's outstanding.
I think my chili's outstanding
Listen,
too.
bring your own fucking chili. We'll have a taste off. I'll kick your ass.
I love chili cook-offs. That could be another party, a chili cook-off.
We've done it before.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't win the Project Lift chili cook-off is because he put so much emphasis on the amount of meat. The one that won was almost like meat with some sauce.
I do my chili. You can eat my chili with a fork, is what I say.
You can eat mine with a fork too, but but mine's tomato based, and so I have my stock is basically tomato juice.
Same, and then I have tomato paste as well to thicken it up.
Tomato paste, yeah, exactly. I do the same thing, and then I use like stew meat and let it cook. Pretty much, I just brown it in the pan, and then I put it in there and let it cook in the actual. But I was thinking about doing something more.
Like a brisket or something.
Brisket or
great.
something. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, smoking it for a few hours first, and then putting that in the chili.
You need to go. So the briskets you get at Giant Eagle are shit. Those brisket flats. You need to go to either go Costco's where it's at. I'm gonna go.
Our membership there lapsed.
I'm gonna go pick up another one because typically you make burn ends with the point on the brisket, and that's what I did this past weekend. Is I used the point. So I'm gonna try and run up and grab another one, cut it up into like thirds or something like that, and then I'll smoke another point and bring it on Saturday.
All right. If you go up there this week and they have some good brisket or something,
you may grab you. Do you have a deep freeze?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't have a deep freeze, but I have 2 freezers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean.
I don't have a standalone freezer, but I have and out in my garage I have that freezer.
That's right.
It's empty basically.
I usually do mine in either like thirds or quarters, or depending on how big the brisket is too. Because it's not like you're going to eat 20 pounds of brisket in one setting. So. Well. Plus, I would hate to say how long that would take to cook. Jesus criminy.
I could split it up and do separate brisket alone and then brisket for the chili. So
that's true.
Anyway, my Instagram is Dudepool, DUDEPOOLE, and Tyler is not on here, so he can introduce himself next time. For those of you who have not looked him up before, but our bios include, or our bio for Bourbon Hunters includes our names, except for Tyler, except for Brett, which I need to add.
No worries.
So look us up on Instagram. We are The Bourbon Hunters on Instagram. We post pretty much every day. Every once in a while I'll forget to post, but for the most part I post a different bottle every day, or at least some sort of interesting something every day. So follow us on there. And then we also have a Facebook page. We don't put as much effort into the Facebook page. It's just a reposting of the Instagram page. But find us and like us and leave us a review on Apple, Google, wherever you're listening to us. Honest review is good.
Yeah. If there's something you want us to taste, please put it out there.
Yeah. If you want to send us something, please let us know.
Yeah, even better.
We'll send us blinds. And
that would be fun if someone sent us a blind.
Send us like 4 samples, and then we just do a blind, and then like on the bottom of it or something, they tell us what it is at the end, and we have to figure it out.
They're like, that was cyanide. Sorry, sucker.
You are dying soon. All right. But thank you for listening to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters, and I am Dude Pool and
Brett Bryan.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining in for yet another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. If you like what you hear, please leave us a good rating on Apple, Podbean, Google, or wherever you are listening. It definitely helps us to get great guests on our show. And follow us on Instagram and the Facebooks to keep up to date with what is in our glass. As always, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon.